Hello, I'm Sally Pointer. Welcome to part 2 of how to build a warp weighted loom. In our last video, we'd just been out to throw woods to collect some sustainably coppiced wood for our loom. Now, I'm making 2 looms in total for this project, but for today's section, I'm really focusing on the smaller one. This is going to be a child-sized loom, and at the moment, these timbers are really, really tall. If I come a little bit closer, that sort of head height on me, that's too tall for children to use. So the very, very first thing that I need to do is mark up where I need to cut these timbers. So I'm going to get a pen, I'm going to draw some lines on them, and I'm going to saw them to length. A drawing knife is a brilliant tool, particularly if, like me, you're a bit of a dunce at woodwork. I don't have the coordination and upper body strength that makes things like saws and planes look easy. But a two-handled tool like this, a drawing knife, works the same way, makes it really easy to strip bark off things. Now, I haven't done a perfect job on this, that's actually deliberate. I quite like a rustic look, but I can also go over them later. Once I've got the basic cuts sorted, I can tidy things up and I can pushify them to my heart's content. Let me grab that pen though, and we'll decide where we're cutting. So of these 2 forks, one is clearly a lot bigger than the other. So I'm going to use the size of the smaller one as my guide. I can see that that's about that wide. I'm going to cut the knock on the second one to somewhere in the same vicinity. I'll probably cut them a little tall to start with. I can always tidy them later. I'm also going to need one round about there, round about there. Once I've got the tops lined up, the bottom, that's way too tall. I think round about there. It's not a perfect mark, really doesn't matter. All it is so that I can eyeball it when I get it on the Black & Decker and get the saw onto it. Now then, you're not allowed to laugh at my woodworking technique. I've never pretended I was any good with a saw. One done, one to go. Cut these to size, and as you can see they're about chest height on me now. That's perfect for use for children. That bit's going to be at the back, that bit's going to be at the back. The next thing to do is decide on the cloth beam. Now this needs to be straight as I can make it. And I've got several bits of wood here that I think might work. Now, the width of your cloth beam needs to be a bit wider than the width of fabric you're likely to make on it. But this is a child-sized loom, it's never going to be used for anything really huge, so I'm going to keep this quite modest. That's really straight. I think this one will do. Nice bit sticking out at the end. Let me twist that. Plenty here. If I take this off around about there, that's going to be giving plenty of wriggle room. The next piece of wood I need will be the shed bar. That's going to be the beam that runs across here, and one set of threads and weights is going to hang over the front of it. Doesn't matter if that one's a little bit bendy. Slightly straight is good, slightly bendy, not a problem. And I think this piece is going to work well for that. That's going to go around about there. I know these pictures are rubbish. I'll do some long shots now in a second. I'm going to trim these to length. We'll start seeing how it's looking. Now that is starting to look better. So my upright forked supports have been cut to length. The upper cloth beam has been cut to length. That's the straightest piece of stick I can manage. The bottom shed bar has been cut to length. I've just lightly tied it into place for the moment, but in a bit I'm going to get out a big drill and I'm going to drill some holes right through that for pegs. So the loom is almost structurally complete. Depending on how complicated a piece of fabric I want to weave will depend what I do next, but I know that this particular loom is only going to be used for very simple tabby weaves. So I'm almost there. The next thing I need are Heddle sticks. Now, these are the Heddle Supports. They're going to sit in, again, drilled and pegged, roughly halfway up. I'm going to put several holes in so they can be raised or lowered. They're going to be used to support the Heddle rod. Now this is the rod that will be moved out and in as the weaving takes place. That's almost it for this particular section. I'm going to tidy these up a little bit more. I'm going to drill some holes, and then I'll be back to show you what our assembled loom looks like, and then I'll get on with the adult sized one.